So, we all know that feeling of spending hours on a level in a video game while dying 284 times by the same obstacle. Then you get to the point where you either have to look up a tutorial or just uninstall the game. Well, I want to tell you about games that will make you feel just that. Now, I'm gonna avoid online games because that just depends on who you're playing. Now, to start us off, we got Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. Now, you guys have probably never heard of this game, but to sum it up, you play as Indiana Jones, as you can probably guess, and you pretty much go to different ancient temples around the world collecting artifacts, while solving some tricky puzzles and killing Nazis and some weird ass ancient demon monster things. I loved the heck out of this game, but the reason it was such a struggle to play was because of its age. This game was released in 2003 for the original Xbox, and I played it a year ago when it was on Game Pass. The problem with these retro games is that the controls are so unresponsive. When you have to do precise parkour in that game or dodge enemy attacks quickly with some boxy ass movement, it just ends up being 10 times harder. Like, I recall parkouring and doing some challenging jumps and almost being done, and then my character just faces the wrong way just slightly, and then I jump and boom, it's all over. I have to start all over. Overall, though, a great game, and would love to see a remake that fixes all of those friggin' boxy bugs. Next up, we got Blinks the Time Sweeper, another ancient game, in this case 2002, that suffers from the same controls problem. In this game, you play as a furry that has this vacuum that sucks up these gems. This was the original Match 4 game. If you collected 3 of the same gems in a row, you would gain an ability. If you collected 4 in a row, you would gain that ability twice. These powers included the ability to freeze time for a moment, the ability to rewind time, the ability to fast forward, the ability to slow things down, and finally the ability to record yourself, which means to copy the player's actions for a set amount of time, then rewind time, then play back the player's actions via a glowing green copy of thyself. You would use these different power-ups to solve different puzzles and to help kill these goofy monsters, which you did by chucking crap you collected with your vacuum. A very unique concept for a game, but this crap was so challenging. Jumping in this game was so stiff, and it was almost always the cause of your death because it was so damn hard to avoid monsters. It was also a one-touch kill by them, but you gain more and more lives throughout the game. You could also regain lives by collecting heart-shaped gems just with your vacuum, of course, but it was still not enough. You also had to use your ability so precisely, and the way you collect gems was crucial because the only way to get the gems was from collecting them from monster drops you killed or by getting the few around the stage. And if you messed up the order of how you collected the gems or used the ability at the wrong time, you would immediately just have to restart the level. Now, I did not finish this game, but I got about 4/5 of the way through because I got sick of dying 200 times each level. So I told myself that if I died 50 more times in this level, I would uninstall. So I kid you not, I died those 50 times, and I was finally free from the shackles of that dumb cat that would die if a blob looked at it the wrong way. An uber stressful game, and I do not recommend playing it at all. Yo, pause! You've made it halfway through the video and you still haven't dropped a like? What are you, stupid? Leave a like and enjoy the rest of the video. If this video gets 10 likes, I will sing Lose by KSI and Little Wayne. But you have to get the 10 likes within 30 days. In third, but in no particular order, we got Superland. This game is fairly recent, coming out in 2018, and you play as this gingerbread looking ass who is in this small toy world where you have to solve puzzles galore. This game is pretty fun when you know what the heck you're supposed to do. But if you're lost, you are very lost, my friend. This game is very creative, but I pretty much had to have a tutorial open at all times, which was not fun. I also did not finish this game because I reached peak stress levels and I decided to quit midway through the game. In 4, we got me bullying another old game, the original Donkey Kong Country. I played this game on my Switch using the Nintendo Switch Online SNES Virtual Console. And the only way I was able to beat this game by using the rewind feature they added on, which is pretty much the equivalent of the undo feature on a Google Doc. This game is a 2D platformer, kind of like an old Mario game, but it's way more fun. And it's also another one-touch kill, so if you miss time a jump and then square in front of an enemy's face, you're gonna go all the way back to your checkpoint. Unless you have the rewind feature that I shamelessly used 849 times. I honestly don't know how 90s kids came back from school, turned on their SNES, and played this game knowing they were about to spend 30 minutes on a single level, dying like 50 times. Guess they were just built different. Some honorable mentions I want to put out there is pretty much every 3D Zelda game. Bro, I'll say this once and I'll say it again. Zelda is not a kid's game. These puzzles are for only the smartiest of pants. And if you missed one item, you're going to have to backtrack to the Immaculate Conception. I think everyone can agree that the hardest Zelda temple was the water one from Ocarina of Time. One reason, terrible swimming controls that cause you to drown more times than you should have. The other games I want to mention is Mario 64, a pretty historical game, but yes, I'm here to complain about the controls again. And I have no idea why Nintendo hasn't remade this game. The fan base is probably one of the biggest ones for any other game. And finally, the last game I want to talk about is Deliver Us to the Moon, or as I call it, Deliver Us to the Moon, let me play up with those stars. Another game you've probably never heard of. It's been around 3 years since I've last played this game, so I'm gonna try to my best to remember what it was about. This game came out in 2018 and it's about an astronaut who's trying to restore power on Earth. And by doing that, you're going different areas around the spaceship and around the moon to solve different puzzles and stuff. Now, these puzzles weren't as challenging as Superlands. The reason I had so much trouble while playing this game was that I could not freaking see half the time. I could not adjust the lighting in the game, so it was always so damn dark. I remember I was struggling so much in this game when I had to jump to a ledge, but I just couldn't see it. This game was also pretty boring, to be honest, but I threw a party when I passed this game because I was so happy I no longer had to deal with it. So yeah, out of all the games I've played, those were probably the most challenging ones for me. If you guys have some games that wouldn't fit out of place in this list, just let me know in the comments. See ya! My bands always multiply. I am stacking up my bands like a game of Jenga. I am stacking up my bands like a game of